It's summer, so we've come to the English coast for sun, sea, sand and Mosconi Cup memories in August's Off the Rail. Hello, welcome to Blackpool, host of course the 2014 PartyPoker Mosconi Cup. Of course, our very own Karl was one of the stars of the show for Europe that year, so it'll come as no surprise to find out he's waiting inside to tell me all about it. But we're not just looking back on this week's Off the Rail, there's plenty to look forward to as well. Here's what's coming up. Karl tells us what it was like to lift the Mosconi Cup on a memorable hometown appearance. The Team USA selection process has reached its next stage. And who will join Joshua Filler on Team Europe? Plenty still to come, but first, Karl, we're in the Blackpool Tower Circus Arena. 5 years, unbelievably, since the Mosconi Cup was here, and what an event that was. What was it like to play in?
Yeah, I mean, it was incredible. When, sort of press release was done and Blackpool was going to be the, the venue for the Mosconi, I was just so desperate to get in the team, and a lot of people were saying, oh yeah, you'll be in the team, but, Daryl Peaks lives in Blackpool, obviously, he's played nine ball a long time, so you sort of always felt it was going to be between me and him really, but when I did get in the team and I qualified, and I just thought, it's kind of the icing on the cake really. I've played a lot of pool all over the world, and your friends and family don't really get to see you play that much because you're always away, and I just sort of wanted to take it all in, and it's such a kind of iconic venue, and you just knew it was going to be sort of dead loud and eerie in here, and even though obviously you want to win and there's the pressure, I just really tried to save you every last minute.
It did feel a little bit from the outside looking in that it was a little bit of your Mosconi Cup, as you say. It was in Blackpool, you had a lot of friends and family here, all the pre-event promo activity, you were out at the football pitch, saying hello to the crowd at half-time, we got you at the top of the tower, you were involved in every element of this Mosconi Cup because you were the hometown hero. Did it feel to you like this was, when you look back on your Mosconi Cups, this was the one that really connected with yourself?
Yeah, 100%. I mean, I suppose if anyone's lucky enough to play in a Mosconi Cup, let alone, less than half a mile away from where they live, it's just unbelievable really, and as you said, leading up to it, I was doing all sort of the promo work, and I had, hundreds of messages off my friends that, obviously live in Blackpool and Manchester where I'm from, and I just thought it's important that this week I've really got to, take it all in and enjoy it, because as you said, sitting here 5 years later, it just goes so quick, and now I don't even play.
But looking back on it, looking just up at the arena now, how everything's on top of you, the top tier is really on top of the action. It was a shame in a way that the Mosconi Cup outgrew this venue so quickly. We sold out almost 1,200 seats here, but now it's 2,500 at Ali Pali. But the atmosphere in here with the acoustics of the venue, with everyone on top of you, it really was something else, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think it was a shame really. I think it certainly deserved one more, just because not only from players' point of view, and as you said, the acoustic sound of the arena and the atmosphere, whether it's 2,000 or 1,000, just the way the venue set up, it was just eerie and quite scary, and I just think it was a little bit of a shame that he didn't come back. But you never know, one day hopefully some form of pool tournament could come back here, because it is such a fabulous venue.
What do you remember of the tournament itself? You're saying you're taking everything in. Do you remember actually playing at the table, the matches you won?
Yeah, I remember sort of walking out for the team match, and whether you're playing in America or in Blackpool or in London, that team match is such a weird feeling, because all of you walk out, you all sit there, and you've not only got the crowd, you've got your four teammates sat there, and it's like you play that one rack, and it's it's nervous at the best of times. But I sort of just handled everything really well that week. I was playing well, and I felt confident, and it just sort of all went to plan. I felt like I played pretty well that week, and there was a lot of expectation on me, and I certainly didn't want to look back thinking, oh, I had a nightmare in Blackpool, and 5 years ago I've got very fond memories of it.
You mentioned that walkout there, Karl. You came from the tunnel just behind us. Like in a lot of team sports, you came right into the arena rather than from down the back like you might usually at the Mosconi Cup. What was that like, walking out into the noise?
Yeah, I mean, I went, well, Johan went first and I was sort of the next player, and obviously, you know, Johan was the captain, and it was just one of them things where it just kind of felt right that I was sort of the first player to walk out, because you just knew all the European fans were going to go mental. And just over there where we were sat, I had the full block of like everybody I knew, and everyone just went bananas. I think they'd been, you know, drinking all day, and as soon as I sort of walked out, it just erupted. And from that very first moment, it was just like, wow, this is going to be, you know, mental in here.
And you see from that year and the atmosphere there was that year, where the Mosconi Cup's gone since, it seems to have really grown on that, and that atmosphere really is, it has been for a long time, but the key part of the event.
Yeah, 100%. And I think, you know, with America winning the last Mosconi Cup, I think it's, you know, vital that did happen in a strange way. I mean, obviously, if you're part of the European team now, you want to win, of course, and keep the record going. I mean, I was very fortunate that, you know, when I played, the very first year I played, America were defending champions, and then obviously Europe just went on that crazy win streak, and as I said last year, with America winning, I think it's vital for 9-ball pool.
Did it get to the point in that crazy win streak that you just turned up at the Mosconi Cup and you sort of just expected to win?
Yeah, it did, because, I mean, every year, if you look back at the teams, it was just unbelievable. No disrespect to Europe's team last year, but, you know, there's an argument for saying on paper it was a little bit weaker than, you know, it could have been, and certainly previous years. And, you know, every time I played, the very first Mosconi I played in was at Ali Pali, and the team was Darren, Ralph, Mika and Nick Vandenberg. It was like, I sort of had to pinch myself there, thinking, how have I managed to get in this team? It weren't so long ago. I was watching it on TV myself, and I just think that was what happened sort of every year. I mean, you had the odd rookie, you know, qualifying, don't get me wrong, but the other 4 Europeans were such big names in the world of 9-ball pool, and they'd won huge major tournaments. And I think now you've probably seen a little bit of changing in the guard with that, because of the way the ranking system is. You know, back then it was more or less wild card for everyone, maybe 1 or 2, you know, as where now sort of European pool's big, and, you know, anyone can sort of qualify, but if you've never played at Mosconi, it's hard, and you do need that experience.
So if you sum it up in a sentence, what is it like to play in the Mosconi Cup?
I think to play in a Mosconi Cup, you've got to have nerves of steel, and usually the big-time pool players, you know, they show up for that event.
It is a very special event, one we look forward to all year round. And this year, our sponsors, PartyPoker, are giving you the chance to play in your own version of the Mosconi Cup. The amateur PartyPoker Mosconi Cup takes place in November. It's a great prize package worth almost $5,000. It's flights, it's your hotel at Mandalay Bay, VIP treatment throughout the week, as well as that spot on the PartyPoker Amateur Mosconi Cup. Karl, let's turn our attention now to this year's PartyPoker Mosconi Cup. And Team USA, we already know Shane Van Boning and Skylar Woodward will definitely be on the team. They'll be joined by 3 out of 4 of the contenders. Last year's winning team, Corey Jewell, Tyler Staller, Billy Thorpe, and Max Eberle, who's emerged from a group of players who've been training with the vice coach Jeremy Jones. He'll be going to Russia for the Dream Challenge, the Kremlin Cup, to fight his battle to try and get on that team. It's a tall order for him, but it can be done. Yeah, of course. I mean, obviously, he is a bit of a surprise package, to say the least. I mean, all the pool players around the world do know who Max Eberle is, but he's never really quite done it. I don't know if he's applied himself, has he been working and he's decided to have a go now. I don't really know. But he's a bit of a character. He's on that page of, like, he's one of them types of American players who really studies the game and the physics, and he'll tell you that the earth's flat when it's round. You know, he's on that vibe. But he's an interesting character, and good luck to him. And I think for so many years now, people have been vying for Justin Bergman to be in the team, haven't they, again? But just doesn't seem to be happening for him. And,
you know, we all know, you know, how good he is, you know, without doubt one of the top American players, but, you know, it's not happened, and good luck to Max. And I don't know, I think because America was on such a poor losing streak, should they just put the same team back out there? But, you know, he's put himself in a position, and, you know, good luck to him.
Well, it may be that it's the same team it transpires to be, and Justin Bergman was another player who had his chance, and credit to Jeremy Jones and the coach Johan Roysink. They are giving players their opportunity, and we saw last year Tyler Steyer took that, got in the team, and then played fantastic at Ali Pali. So there is sort of a precedent there for Max Eberle to follow.
Yeah, 100%. I think the only difference with that is, you know, Tyler's a young, up-and-coming lad. He's no battle scars, as you say, and he just went out there and he knows what he wanted to do. As well with Max, you know, you would think he's played in many a pool tournament, not quite won that big tournament and got that exposure, so he's going to be feeling it. But, you know, he's in the position, and, you know, at the end of the day, you just never know, do you?
And Karl, a quick word on the European team. We mentioned it briefly on the last Off the Rail, as it looked like Joshua Filler was going to make the team. He has now made it. He'll be at the Mandalay Bay in November. That's a real confident player joining Team Europe, and Marcus will be delighted to have him on the team.
Yeah, I mean, he is sort of the man of the moment, isn't he? Every tournament he enters, certainly the big majors, he's either winning them or coming second. I mean, he's on such an unbelievable run, really, and just the way he plays the game, he's so fearless. I remember the US Open that he won, you know, I did most of the commentary throughout the full event, and I honestly can't remember seeing him miss a ball. I really can't. And I just think Marcus will be so happy he's in the team. Obviously, you've got the likes of Jason Shaw, Albin, Niels, the guys, you know, them type of guys who are rocks, and I think they need to be in the team. I think, you know, last year where you had Clint Catcher, obviously, you know, unbelievable player, Alex Kazakis, another unbelievable player, but just, I don't know, it just didn't seem to gel quite right. And I think we don't know the team yet. We know Filler's in the team. I just think they need the likes of Albin, Shaw, just them anchormen. You know, that certainly when I was playing, we had all them with Ralph and Darren. And if they don't have that type of player, I could certainly see America doing a back-to-back. I really could.
Karl, as you mentioned, Joshua Filler, US Open champion. He'll be back at the Mandalay Bay next April to defend that title. Player entries opened only a couple of weeks ago. Already well over 150 entries, less than 75 spots remaining, in fact. So if you're a player and you've not yet entered, do it quickly. It's remarkable how quickly it's filling up. I guess it's a sign of how successful the first event was in April for Matchroom.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, when Matchroom announced he was taking over the US Open from the Berman family, you know, it was such big news for pool players and pool fans across the world, because you just knew there was going to showcase the whole event, and with the first 3 days being shown on Facebook, you know, everyone could watch it, and then obviously with DAZN and Sky Sports, it was unbelievable. And I think for the first year, you know, they've done it as a multi-table event for such a long time. I thought it was a huge success, and of course, you know, you would think the US Open's going to be a complete sellout again.
Don't fancy dusting off your queue and getting involved in it next year?
Depends if Emily will let me or not.
Well, Karl, I'm not sure about that, but thank you very much for joining us on August Off the Rail. We'll be back from the Kremlin Cup and Dream Challenge in September. Thank you very much for joining us. We'll see you next time.